So last session, the syntax of XHTML was not complete. Okay. We'll start from the section where we had left with. I just kept on repeating and it was not audible. Okay. So we'll start from there once again. So we all know that XHTML, it is a combination of HTML plus XML. Okay. So it includes feature of both the HTML as well as what? XML, right? So we already saw what is XML. XML is nothing but what? Extensible, okay? Extensible markup language, right? And we all know about HTML. So XHTML, it is a combination of both HTML and XML. All right, thank you. Okay, now we will see what is the syntax of XHTML. In the last session, I already told you that XHTML is having a strict set of rules than HTML. There are strict syntax and semantics when it comes to HTML, just like compulsions in closing the bracket, adding double quotes and all. So that is nothing but the syntax part of XHTML, right? So now let us move towards the syntax of XHTML. So this is question number 21, which we are going to discuss today. That is the syntax of XHTML. Okay. So if possible, we will also cover the structure, right? We'll try to cover both the syntax and structure of XHTML, right? So today I will go a bit fast, guys. So please cope up with the speed, right? So these are the 7 set of syntax rules which you have to write in the examination. Fine. So this is the first one, which is itself telling that about the statement. So your syntax exactly starts from here. Just make it number 1 to number 7 over here, right? So we will see one by one today. So when an examination, they may ask you explain XHTML syntax as well as structure. So this may be asked for you for 10 marks, guys. Okay, it may come for 10 marks. So it is an important question, which is the expected question from unit number 1. Okay, you may expect this question for your annuals, right? If any examination is conducted in the annual, so this is the expected question there. Fine. Okay. So I will just start from the syntax. So this is the first syntax rule. So what is this first syntax rule? Document declaration. Every XHTML file should have compulsory a document type declaration. So in HTML, you know that document declaration what we use, that is doc type HTML, which comes in what? Version number 5, right? So when we are using an XHTML, remember that this is the header which we are adding at the first line, which we are considering as the first line. Now let me tell you what is this. Okay. So you saw in HTML, we first type doc type HTML and we close the tag here. But that is not the case in XHTML. So this is the header file, first header file which has to be included when we are creating an XHTML file. So what does it indicate? See, less than symbol, exclamation mark, we have doc type, which is written in capital. Then we have HTML, which is written in the small case. Then we have public, okay, which is in the capital case. We have quotes, double quotes, okay. Then we have this symbol. What is this? This is an underscore. We have double slash, W3C, which is in capital, that is worldwide, okay, web consortium. It was invented. XHTML was invented by World Wide Web Consortium. What is DTD, guys? DTD, you have to keep in mind. DTD means document, okay, type. It is document type definition, right? Document type definition. See, as in C program, we have somewhat like we have hash include, right? We have stdio.h. Similarly, we have math.h, right? We have to close here. Then we have string.h. Okay. So what are these? stdio.h, math.h, and string.h. These three are nothing but the header files which are included where in your C program, right? Similarly, we have DTDs which are included, okay, in XHTML. So this is called as what here? This line, what you see, it is called as what? Header file. Okay, clear to you, which is also called as a DTD, document type definition. There are different types of DTD, but we use this DTD when we are writing an XHTML file. There are 3 types of headers, okay, but we are using this first header. We are using this header only when we are writing what your XHTML code. Fine, okay. What is the second part of syntax? The second part of syntax is case sensitive. Okay, let us see here now what is case sensitive. Okay, see, as I told you, in HTML, what happens? It is not case sensitive. It is not case sensitive. You can use what? Lower or upper case letters also when it comes to what? HTML. But that is not the case when it comes to XHTML. In XHTML, we have to follow syntax strictly. So what is that syntax? See, XHTML is case sensitive markup language. Case sensitive means what? You have to use either what? Only one case. You cannot use both upper as well as the small case letters. Okay. You can use what? Only the lower case letters when it comes to XHTML, right? All the XHTML tags and attributes need to be written what? In the lower case, right? It means what? We have to try to write all the XML markup tags into the lower case. Is it clear? So by default, what is going to happen in XHTML? All your tags have to be written in the lower case. Okay, this is the second syntax rule. So this is a tag. A tag is called as what? A link tag. When you want to link from one web page to another page, we use one tag which is called as what? Link tag, guys, right? So this is called as what? Link tag. A tag is used for creating the link. So I will teach you that later. Fine. So here you can see that in this line specifically, I'm using a href. Href is a reference. So href is attribute of a tag. A is a one tag and href is one attribute of a tag, right? And this is the name of the file. So what happens here? This file is going to open, right? So this is one example for what you can say case sensitive. I will give you one more example. Suppose we have body tag. Yes, any queries? Any queries? Suppose we have a body tag attribute. We have to write like this: BGCOLOR is equals to quotation RED. Fine. This is the format, right? So we have to follow this format when we are writing an XHTML code. Compulsorily, you have to write body. You have to write BG color, which is the attribute. So here BG color is nothing but what? The attribute of body tag followed by is equals to double quotes and the value for this attribute. Clear to you? So what it means? Everything that you write in XHTML must be in the lower case. Okay, it must be in the lower case. Now the third syntax. So what is the third syntax rule? See here. So compulsorily everything should have what? Every opening tag should compulsorily have what? A closing tag. Means if you're going to open a tag, every tag should have what? A closing tag. Every opening tag, whatever you write, it should be compulsorily closed, right? Whereas in HTML, what happens? We saw in the lecture number 11, I guess, okay, where we do not close the body tag, but still it is getting executed. We forget to close the tags, but still it is showing the output in the browser, right? But that is not the case, right? Where in XHTML, everywhere what you need to do is compulsorily you have to write a closing tag for each of the opening tag. Clear to you? So see this example here. In this example, you can see that every opening tag should have a closing tag, right? So That is the third syntax rule, right? So what is the fourth syntax rule? So fourth syntax rule is what? Attributes. See, there is one more example here, that is for image tag. So we have image source is equals to, this is the name of the file. So you can also close the tag in this way, right? This is one more pattern of closing the tag. For example, suppose I am writing a p tag, which is a paragraph tag. This is one style of closing the tag, right? So there is one more style of closing the tag. This is in this way. Okay, so you can use both the formats. You can use this format as well as you can also use this format. Clear to you? So these are the these both are the formats of closing the tags in XHTML. So you can use both the formats. That clear to you? Now let me go to the next attribute. Okay, next syntax rule, that is attribute quotes. So what it means, just now I told you that every attribute must be covered in the double quotes, right? So I told you an example of body tag saying body, okay, BGCOLOR is equals to red. So what is this here? Every attribute, whatever attribute is there, that every attribute should have a value. Okay, this is the value. And here, this red, whatever red you are taking, that is an attribute, and this attribute should compulsorily have what? The double quote. Whatever attribute values you are taking, every attribute value should compulsorily have a double quote in XHTML, right? So this is the next rule, right? So this is the fourth syntax rule for writing the XHTML file, right? Next, fifth is what? Attribute minimization. So what does this attribute minimization means? Means you should not skip any value, right? You cannot skip. See here, we have tag name and then we have attribute. Okay, is equals to value, right? So some of the tags will have default values. Okay, some of the tags will have default attributes, right? Some of the tags will have default attributes. For example, let us take a switch case. If you're writing a switch case and then you have case 1, okay, you have case 2, and then you have a default. Okay, so what happens here is, if the value of case 1 is not executed, if the value of case 2 is also not executed, it will go to what? Default. It will go to what? Default, right? So what is default here? If case 1 and case 2 are not executed, then it will go to default case, right? So what it indicates here, default is nothing but it will get executed when the value doesn't belongs to case 1 and case 2. Understood? When the value do not belong to case 1 and case 2, it will go to default. Clear to you? So same thing, what it indicates, attribute minimization means default attributes you have to write sometimes. So such one tag is what? Option tag. So what happens with option tag? It will create a list box, okay? And by default, you have to keep this option. You cannot, like what I can say, this attribute, you have to keep it as a default only. That is one of the rule which is used for attribute minimization. Clear to you? Fine. So what is the sixth syntax rule? The sixth syntax rule is ID attribute. So what is ID attribute, guys? Now this you will come to know when we start the programming. Suppose we take an image, or suppose we take any image, or you can say any area, right? For example, I will take an image. I want to display an image, right? So this I am telling you in HTML now. So image and source. Source is equals to the location of the file. Suppose I will take hello.jpg. This is the name of image, right? This is the file name. Okay, this is the file name. And I want to give one more name here. Name is equals to, for example, hello. I want to give a name to that image, that is, for example, hi, right? The name of file is what? Hello.jpg, and the name which I want to give to the image is what? Hi. Clear to you? So what happens here? This name attribute is referred where in your HTML, but this attribute is replaced by ID attribute. We do not use a name attribute here. We use ID attribute. For example, here image source. Okay. Image source is equals to name of image, right? That is the name of the file, and ID. We do not take a name attribute, we take ID attribute. That is the difference, right? Similarly, we do not take language attribute. That I will tell you in second unit. We go for what? Type attribute, right? We do not take attribute called as language. We take attribute called as what? Type. Okay. Then the last syntax rule. What is the last syntax rule? Nested tags. So see here, if I take an example like if statement, I write a statement here, okay, and then I open a bracket. I open a bracket, and in that what I do, I write for, and I write a for statement. I write some values here, and I close the for tag. Okay, and I do not forget the if here. I complete what? Closing of what? Main program. So definitely what is going to happen here, guys? What is going to happen? For this opening bracket, right, there is no closing bracket. This is a closing bracket of main method. This is a closing and opening of for statement, right? And this is opening of the if. What is this? This is the closing of for. And what is this? This is the closing of main. Do you agree? So what happens here is that I just forgot to nest or bracket or complete this if there will, therefore it will give me an error. So such kind of nesting of tags rules are also applicable in XHTML. You have to compulsorily take care of closing and opening of the specific tags. Clear to you? It means, see, there is a B tag, bold tag. Inside bold, I am taking an italic tag. So you have to first complete the internal tag. Which is the internal tag here? Italic. So what is the first inner tag that you have to complete? For example, you have to complete the inner for, and then you have to complete the outer if. Getting? Similarly, you have to complete the inner tags first and then complete the outer tags. For example, complete the for tag and then complete this if tag. Do you agree? So that is called as a nesting of tags. So nesting of tags also plays very important role in XHTML. Clear to you? Fine. So this is about the syntax. Okay, up till this is all about the syntax. Now we will see the standard XHTML document structure, right? So we saw rules of HTML and how to write a HTML file, that is called as a structure. Similarly, the way to write this XHTML file, how do you create the first program, that is called as a document structure or the file structure. So document structure is nothing but the program structure. Okay, it is the program structure of your which file? XHTML file, right? Standard XHTML document structure. So every XHTML file should begin in this way, right? So I will tell you what is the opening and beginning now. So every XHTML file should begin in the same way, right? So the following example shows you the minimum content of XHTML 1.0 document. So I told you that there are various versions of XHTML. What are those? XHTML 1.0. We have XHTML 2.0. Okay. Then we have XHTML 5.0. Right. So this whatever syntax I'm telling you, this is an example of 1.0 XHTML. So we can also work with the latest versions. We have the latest version, which is XHTML 5.0. Clear to you? Okay. Now the following example, it will tell you the document structure of 1.0. Why 1.0? Because it is very, very basic structure, isn't it? 1.0, why we are looking at 1.0? It is just like the base. That's why we are seeing the structure for 1.0. All right. Now, let me tell you one by one. These three statements are the three headers which we want to include in every XHTML file, right? So these are the three different XHTML headers. So this is the first header, that is XHTML version. This is the second header, This is the third header. Okay, and then we have to write the fourth tag, fifth tag, and then the closing of the file. So in this way, we have to write the XHTML step by step, right? This is the step by step procedure of your XHTML. Clear to you? Now I will explain you each and every line. Fine. See. So we have first line, that is XML version 1.0. So what is this? It is telling us that XHTML is a combination of HTML and XHTML. Therefore, what you have to do, you have to write this compulsorily. You have to write XML version. What is the version of your XML? 1.0. Encoding is equals to UTF-8. What is encoding? It means I am using a format. What is that format here? I am using a format of Unicode transcription script. Okay, Unicode transcription script 8. So it tells us that I'm using an Western, okay, language, that is English, okay, script. Clear to you? Script, right? So we have Unicode transcription script number 8. What is that? That will tell me what version of text I am using. Clear to you? What version of text I am using. So that is called as what? XML version 1.0 encoding UTF-8. How you have to write? Just in this format only. The format is compulsory. Less than question mark XML version is equals to 1.0. Encoding is equals to UTF and 8. What is that, guys? That is the first header. Okay, this is the first header for the XHTML file. What is the second header? So second header is this one, which we saw just now. This is called as a doc type declaration, right? So this statement is called as what? Doc type. Doc type DTD. Document type definition. So this there are three different forms of DTDs. Okay, there are three different forms, and this form which we are using is used commonly. We use this form by default. Clear to you? We use this form by default. What is that? Just now we saw in the syntax. Doc type XHTML public W3 DTD XHTML 1.0 transactional // EN in capital HTTP W3 org. What does it mean? Org means what? It is all the header files are coming from W3C. Okay, all the header files are coming from W3C. That is transactional. If you take transactional, it will include all the code. If you take this header file, what will happen? You can include all the code. You can include HTML code. You can include what? XML code, right? All this code you can include if you take this header file. That is why we are preferring what? This header file. Okay, we are taking this header file because it will accept HTML code also and XML code also in your document, in your file. Clear to you? So DTD, document type. Okay, so we were here. TR is a transactional XHTML version 1.0 document type definition. Which header file I'm using from XHTML? I told there are three types. This is the type which we use by default for every file. Why? Because it will help us to write HTML code as well as XML code also, right? So this is XHTML version 1 transactional DTD. Clear to you, right? So this is the header file which we use for XHTML 1.0. So what we use for 5.0 or the versions which are greater than 4.0. All the versions which are greater than 4.0, that is XHTML versions which are greater than 4.0, we are using loose.dtd. Okay, ishtainati transactional.dtd, only that section, only this section. See, only this section, that is XHTML transactional DTD, we are replacing by loose DTD. That is the difference, okay, between XHTML 1.0 and XHTML 4.0. So you have to compulsorily write this file when you are writing the code. Yavdo program ಬರೆಯೋಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮುಂಚೆ ಈ header compulsory ಬರಿಬೇಕಿನ್ ಮುಂದೆ ನಾವು. Okay, fine. Then let us go to the third header, that is XHTML XMLNS. So what is this XMLNS? So HTML you know, right? Yeah, HTML you know. XMLNS is nothing but what? It is called as XML, right? Namespace. namespace. So what is XML namespace? So this is needed to check whether all the headers or all the tags that you are using in your code are correct or not. It will check whether all the tags, all the attributes, what you are using in the document, what you are using in the file are correct or not, right? If you are writing XHTML, compulsorily this header file is required. If you are writing an XHTML code, compulsorily you have to write XML namespace. Okay, so from where this namespace is taken? So this namespace we take from http org, w3 org. What is the type of namespace? Transactional. Version is XHTML1. XML language is equals to encode. Language is equals to en. So encoded language and Unicode language. It will allow both encoded and unicoded, right? Both encoded and unicoded will be nothing but they will the format of the English language only. So both the formats, there is one encoded format and Unicode format. So if you include this header also, it will allow you any form of English, UK English, US English, which is the Western type of English. All those English letters are allowed, right? All those transactions are possible there, right? So this is the explanation of the header. Header number 1, right? 3 headers we have, right? This is header number 1, header number 2, and header number 3. Clear to you? So now when you are writing that with the notepad, as we are learning the code with the notepad, remember this header file you have to keep in mind. So I don't know how you're going to do that. You just, I can say that sometimes you need to byhead this header file. Okay, this header file you have to remember. Why? Because for every XHTML code, this is the header, default header, which you have to keep in mind, right? So this header you have to write as a first line when you're writing any of the XHTML document, right? All right. So this is the structure of the XHTML code, right? Then we have another 10 minutes left. We will also cover what are the different DTDs in HTML. What do you mean by DTD? This is also expected question for 5 marks, right? They may ask you what are different DTDs. See this one. DTD means what? Doc type HTMLs, right? So what are different DTDs? Document type definitions. This is one header, right? So in this way, I told you this is the default header which they are using here. I told you this is the default header which they are using here. Which one? See this one. Transactional DTD. Similarly, there are 3 types of document type definitions which we can use. So all 3 are used, but by default we use this. Everything is same, guys. Everything is same there. What we use is the default that we use is, see, everything is same. We have to change only this one. There are 3 different types of document type headers. The most commonly used is this one. We have to just change this one. We are using transitional by default when we want HTML and XML code. So similarly, there are 3 types of what ways, 3 types of different document type definitions. So that also you have to explain in the structure only, because structure and syntax together may be a 10 marks question or sometimes a 5 marks question. They may ask you syntax separately or structure separately. Okay, so what are the 3 document types we will see? So first one document type definition that we have is XHTML strict. Okay, so first type is strict. So what is the format here? See, everything is same. Only at last you have to replace that with strict.dtd. Why we are using strict.dtd? If you are using some another types of programming languages like CSS, okay? So there is one more type of programming language called as CSS. When we are using CSS language, we have to use this header, that is strict.dtd. So strict.dtd when you have to use when we are using what? CSS. Okay, what is the CSS? It is cascading style sheets. When we are using cascading style sheets, at that time you have to use this header. Clear? Then there is a second header. What is that second header? Let us see. As I told you, the second header, which is most commonly used, it is called as a transactional header. So what is this transactional header, guys? See, we know that we already write by default transactional only. Why we are using transactional? If we want everything, we want CSS, okay, we want HTML, we want XML, everything, every programming feature, then we use what? This transactional version. Then we have a third version. So third version is called as what? Frame set. Okay. So what is a frame set, guys? Frame set means I will just give you a brief idea. What is a frame set? Suppose we display one web page here. Suppose this is one web page. Okay. I'll take a small one. Suppose this is a web page, right? Then in this web page, suppose two sections are there. These are the two sections. Okay. Yes. Then we have something called as a menu. We have some section here called as what? Menu. Okay. So when you click on this menu, what is going to happen? Something is displayed in this area. Okay. This area. When you click on that menu, the data is displayed in this part. So these are called as what? Frames. Your web page is divided into different areas. So when we want to include, when we want to display the data from one page to another page, that will be called as a frame set. So all these features you will definitely learn one by one. Okay. So this is about what? The structure, right? So that is about the structure. All right. Then shortly I will tell you the differences between what? HTML and XHTML. So what are the differences between HTML and XHTML? Okay. So just read it. Already I have explained to you. You can just read it. Introduction, that is definition of HTML, definition of XHTML. Extension of HTML file is HTML. It can be XHTML also and HTML also. It will use text or HTML. It is a combination of XML file. It is developed by W3C WAV. It is developed by Worldwide Consortium. It is a document file format. It is a markup language. It is a extended from SGML, that is standard markup language, standard generalized markup language. It is, that is XHTML is derived from XML and HTML. It stands for hypertext markup language. It stands for extensible hypertext markup language, right? So application standard, it is HTML is derived from XGML. XHTML, it is an application of XML. Web pages are written in HTML. Extended version of HTML, that is stricter and XML based. Okay, it is called as what? XML. Flexible framework, okay, restrictive subset, proposed by Tim Berners-Lee, invented by Worldwide Consortium. Versions clear to you guys? Yes. So this is all about XHTML. Introduction to XHTML is a 20th question, guys. Then we have a syntax and structure, which is the 21st question, which may appear for 10 marks, guys. Keep it in mind. So it may appear for 10 marks, right? So explain, this is important question, expected first question from your first unit. Okay, right? So do not skip this question. Start writing this question. If any queries are there, we can discuss in the next session. Then this is the structure which you have to write for XHTML. After writing the structure, you have to explain all document type definitions, different types of headers that are used in XHTML. Then differences between XHTML and XHTML, they may ask for 5 marks or maybe come for short note. Okay, so that is all for today's session.